Welcome to Online Finance School with Bidemi. Let's say, I think I have 2 minutes, so let's wait for people to come up. Let's wait for people to come up. Welcome, my brother Tibet Josus. How are you today? So good to see you. You are the first person, so let's see the second person. Just listen to some music this morning. So, good morning. Welcome to Online Finance School with Bidemi. Good morning, Dad. How are you today? Then how is the family? How is work? How is mom? And how is everything? So today, I will be teaching on how to manage your money as couples. I'll be teaching on how to manage your money as couples. That's what I'll be teaching on today. But before we go further, please just hit your share button so that people can know that we are live. I think it's 11 o'clock here on the dot. It's 11 on the dot. And we're expecting more people to come in. So we are just going to wait a little. I'll greet some people while we go straight. Okay, welcome. Somienye Ibim Pepo. I'll just call you Pepo. So good to see you, Pepo. How are you today? And how is your Saturday over there? Here is in North Cyprus, it's Saturday, and the weather is not too sunny, not too hot though, but the summer is really coming up really fast. So today, I'll be teaching on how to manage your money as couples. How to manage your money as couples. I know that money is something that individuals don't like to talk about. People don't like to talk about money. People don't like to, they are very careful when it comes to money. When it comes to people discussing money, they are very careful. So, but as couples, it's important that couples learn to talk about money. It's important that they plan together. It's important that every area of their lives, which also includes their finances, is something they must sit down to discuss. It's something that they must sit down to talk about. It's not one thing I got to notice while growing up, like now that I'm really growing so fast, is that just a second, let me use my earphones. Just a second. I want to use my earphones. So I hope you can hear me very well. So welcome, Ahmad Hal Okali. So good to see you this morning. So like I was saying, one of the things I got to find out while growing up, now that I'm growing, is that we don't leave things to assumptions. So as a couple, every part of your life has to be discussed, to your spirituality, to your development, to your kids. So we don't leave things to assumptions. That's one thing I first want to establish, that every part of your life, you don't leave it to, okay, things will just work out. No, things will just work out, except you put adequate, you put adequate planning, you put adequate things in place. So what do I want to talk about this morning? First, I first want to establish the fact that as couples, it's good to plan together. As couples, it's good to plan your finances together. And one of the first points I'm going to raise today is, if you are getting married, like if you're about to get married or you are getting married already, one of the first things you must do is that, part of the things you should do is to talk about money. Talk about, to sit down, and part of the things you should talk about is one, what do you earn? So if you're an husband and wife, you are about to get married or you are married, part of the things you should, it's not under assumption. Don't put things to assumption. In fact, what I usually, for me, what I usually say to my wife is that, okay, you bring your journal. I'm going to bring my own journal. So we are going to sit, we are going to have a proper focused meeting. It's because it has to be, life is deliberate. So we just don't do things anyhow. That's one thing we should know. So one, I said talk about money. And what are those points you need to talk about when it comes to money? You need to know your income. So you need to know for the wife or for the wife to be, you need to know what your husband earns. You need to know what he earns. And for the man, you need to know what your wife earns. You need to know whatever she earns every month or every day or every week. It's very important. And aside your income, you also need to find out, okay, Princess, what are your assets? What assets do you have? You also need to know, to find out from each other, do you have debt? Are you owing anybody money? Are you owing the bank money? Are you owing your friends money? Are you owing people money? So the 3 points, don't forget the 3 points. At least you need to know your income. You need to know your assets. So now I'm talking to both parties, and you need to know your debt. There could be other things you need to know when it comes to finances, but I'm going to list that out. Okay, someone said, adequate planning is the key factor to financial success in marriage. Good talk, bro. Thank you so much. Yes, it's very vital for couples to plan. And let me just give this hint of, for example, what I do in my marriage is that I deliberately list the things we need to talk about. We don't, it's not a life where you just assume. No, we will sit down where we are going to discuss it in details, one after the other. No assumptions. So talk about the income, assets, and debts is very important. Then, still on that, talking about money, one of the things you should ensure you talk about, this is so important, is your belief systems. Your belief systems, your attitude, and your feeling about money. Your belief system, your attitude, and your feeling about money. So, for example, some people have an attitude whereby once they don't have money, everything crumbles. Once they don't have it, you can tell when they don't have money. You can tell when they are not happy. So you need to quickly find out. By the time you sit down to discuss, you will be able to know, okay, what is this person's thought pattern? What is my wife's thought pattern towards money? And you also, as a man and as a woman, you need to know, you personally, you need to know how you feel about money. So you need to know your belief system. Belief system is very important. It's very, very important. Number 3 is that's under talking about money. Number 3 is that discuss how you are going to relate to people or your family financially. So you need to discuss, how do you want to relate to people? For example, some people's ideologies, some people don't borrow people money. They prefer to give. They prefer just to give what they have. They prefer to give the resources they know that they can afford. That's how they relate to their friends, because it's so easy for, if we are not careful, it's so easy for money to come between you and your friends. Very, very easy. So decide as a couple, how do you want to relate to your family, or how do you want to relate to your friends? It's very important that you do that. Number 2, develop a common vision. Sorry, let me take some water. Sorry. Develop a common vision. If you find out in a football match, you have a team in a football match, and you find out that if some players are not playing very well, it's going to affect the whole team. It's going to affect every other thing. It's going to affect the goalkeeper. It's going to affect their manager. Because they won't be happy with it. That also applies to marriage. In marriage, you need to come up. You need to team up. You need to be best friends of each other. You need to be able to support each other. You need to be able to push each other to grow. In fact, this morning when I grew up, one of the things that I told myself was, just a second. One of the things I told myself was, if you truly love someone, you will want them to grow. If you love someone, you will be interested in their growth. You will be interested in them growing on a daily basis, on per minute basis, or per hour basis, but you will be interested in their growth. So develop a common vision. How do you guys want to work together? And you know that working together means that you need to talk more often. You need to relate more often. You need to speak more often. You need to dialogue more often. You need to ask yourself questions. So part of, so I said develop a common vision. And what are those points under developing a common vision? Number one, that's under number two now. Number one, I said talk about money. Don't forget that. The second point, I said develop a common vision. Under developing a common vision, set financial goals together. Set financial goals together. If you can't talk about money in your marriage, it's something you need to deal with. It's something you need to deliberately sit down and deal with it. Ask yourself, okay, what is the reason why we are not talking about money? What is the problem? The moment you are able to solve the money issue in marriage, things become very easy because you already know each other's thought patterns. You already know how each other feels about money. So set financial goals together. I already said marriage is like a teamwork. Both parties have to play their part, but they have to work as a team. They have to be interested in each other's growth. So set financial goals together. Sit down and map out, okay, where are we going in the next 5 years? Where are we going in the next 10 years? How do we plan our resources together? Number two is that discuss, I want to raise a very important point here. Very, very important. For people that are just getting married, it might not be so advisable to have kids immediately. So just as soon as you get married, you just begin to have your kids. You need some time to yourself. As couples, you need some time to yourself. You need some time to understand each other better. You also need some time to develop yourself. You need some time to plan for the children. So as newly wedded couples, you don't decide that, okay, as soon as you get married, the second day you are having your baby. Thank you so much, Princess. I love you so much. No, take some time out to develop yourself. Take some time out to grow together. To grow together. It's very important that as couples, in each area of your lives, you must be growing. You must, it has to be together. You must rub off on each other. So discuss when you want to have your kids. Talk about it. Discuss, okay, our kids, how do we want to train them? What kind of value systems do we want to put in them? What kind of principles do we want to teach them? But deliberately talk about these things. In fact, if two of you, as a man or a woman, if someone is not bringing it up, because I know that in a relationship or in marriage, there are strengths and weaknesses. I know that fully well. So you must play on your strength. If it's something that you know how to do well, you must play on it. You must let your wife or let your husband know that, hey, This is what or she knows how to do. This is what he knows how to do best. So decide when you want to have your kids. My third point for number 2 is that decide when you want to have your home and plan for it. Decide, okay, we want to buy a house, we want to build a house. This is where we want to live. This is where we want to live in 5 years' time. Decide when you want to have these things. And I know fully well that God determines when you plan, God has a way of putting things in order for you. But it's our duty to ensure that we plan. It is our duty to ensure that we plan. Thank you so much, Queen Chinwe, and everybody. I love you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. So number 4, under point 2, don't forget the number 2 that I'm giving is develop a common vision. And under develop a common vision, the 4th point under developing a common vision, decide the kind of jobs that you want to do. Decide the kind of jobs that you want to do. This is very important. This is so important for both husband and wife, because one principle you must live by, you should live by in your family, is that time is life, and whosoever wastes time wastes life. Don't find yourself on a job that is going to take away 5 years away from you. Only if you know that you are learning, you are growing. If you find yourself in a place where you know, and you can't deceive yourself. You know if you are at peace. You will know if you are growing. You will know if you are on a daily basis, you are reaching towards your goals. When I was in the bank, I worked in the bank for a while, and I remember one of the regional managers, there was a time we had a meeting, and one of the things he said was, I will never forget. And that's something about words. That's something about when people say things. He said, so many people are praying for your kind of job. So many people are outside and they want to work where you are working. They just want to, because it was a very competitive job. It was very competitive. So many people want to work where you are working. He was saying this. He now said, you should be grateful for what you have. So take care of what you have, run with it, and all sort of things he was saying. But when he said such, I said, no. I'm not going to stay in a place where my life will be wasted. I'm not going to stay in a place where I know that we just have one physical life to live. And I say this more often. You just have just one physical life to live. So after 60, 70 years, you can't reverse your time. You can't go backwards and say, okay, what I didn't do in 20 years old, you cannot go back. It's either you do what you need to do now or you do it now. So decide the kind of jobs you and your wife want to do. It's very important. I know people will say, okay, what if money is a problem? What do we do? You have to sit down and creatively talk about this. So let's assume you are working on a job that, let's assume you are working in a restaurant for about 12 hours just to make ends meet. People work for 10 to 12 hours. When you get back home, one thing you must tell yourself, you can't be on that job for the rest of your life. You need to know that. But it's possible you do the same thing for a long time if you don't work on yourself. If you don't think about how to find your way out. If you don't think about what you do with your life. If you don't think about how to be a blessing to people. So it's possible you be on a place for a very long time if you don't plan yourself out, if you don't find a strategy, an exit strategy out of it. So decide the kind of jobs that you and your wife want to do. Both of you, no wastage of time. In fact, when you wake up in the morning, you start counting your time. Okay, what am I going to do today? How do I spend my time? How do I invest my time today? So it's important. The 5th point is you should also plan. When do you want to retire? When I say retire is, you can be on a job where, especially something that you know you love to do. Maybe you are in a working environment where you love that kind of job for a long time. Yeah, it's a good thing. Sorry, as long as you know that you love that job, it's good. Very, very good. But you must be able to tell yourself, when do you want to stop all the hassles and bustles? When do you want to begin to plan your estate? When do you want to begin to put things in order? So you definitely, know that you won't be, by the time you're 60 or 70, the same strength you have when you're 30, 20, 30 is not the same strength you have by 70. Yes, you could still be very strong, but not like when you were younger. There are some things you won't be able to do any longer. There are some, few things you do now you won't be able to do when you are quite older. So decide when you want to retire and begin to plan. Retire does not mean that you fold your hands and be sleeping. No. When you just want to sit back, begin to mentor people, begin to teach people, begin to inspire people, begin to pour yourself into people, begin to build a legacy, begin to build the kind of principles you want to live by. So it's very important. Then the third point, as couples, both intending to marry and married, you need to understand each other's spending patterns. You need to understand each other, the way each other spends. Some people, in fact, as soon as they lay their eyes on things, they want to buy it. They just feel like buying the old store because they have the money. Because they have the money. So know each other's spending pattern. Both husband and wife, they shouldn't be spendthrifts. No. They shouldn't be, let's just spend. No, that's not the way life works. You need to put things in proper planning. You need to put things in proper shape. Do you understand that? So know your spending patterns. So let's assume you are now married. You need to be able to know, how are you spending your money? What do you at least have a clear picture of what your husband or your wife spends on? For example, as a person, my wife knows what I can buy. She already has an idea of, this is what Tony is going to buy. This, if I get home and she sees me with a good journal, she knows, yeah, because our interest is different. What inspires people differ. So know your spending patterns. Track your expenses. And under knowing your spending patterns is, as a couple, track your expenses together. Track your expenses. We have a short note where we usually have, just to write, in case you buy some things that are very small, just write them that, okay, this is what I spent on today, this is what I spent on. So have a clear picture of what you spend on 3 to 6 months, every month. At least every day, have a clear picture of what you spend on. And I think there's a quote by Benjamin Franklin that says, beware of little expenses. They could sink. It's possible little expenses sinks a big ship. So just be careful of little expenses. All those small things, okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you keep on putting a drop, this drop of water, just keep on putting a drop on a spot. Put it on a spot for a very long time. Before you get back to that spot, water is filled up everywhere. And that's the way money is. Account for the way you spend. Both of you know your spending patterns and how you spend. Number four, employ a money management strategy. Employ a money management strategy. Put a strategy in place. Put a strategy in place on how you want to manage money together. Just sit down and talk about, okay, this is how much I earn, this is what I make on a daily basis. How do we want to ensure that we don't waste money? How do we want to ensure that we don't waste resources? Aside money, you should also put a proper management strategy in place not to waste resources. Not to waste resources, not to waste food. Some people, when they cook, sometimes they are fond of throwing meals away just because they get spoiled. But plan and put those things in place. How you want to ensure that you don't waste money or you don't waste food. Also, when it comes to banking system, decide if you want to have a joint account or separate account. But I usually say to people, just have your account, whether separate, I prefer when you have separate accounts. That's my own preference. Just have a separate account where she can spend if she wants, if she needs money, she can go get some money. Also have a separate account you can have a collective saving account where you know that this is what you are working on. So you pull funds together. You make some pool of funds together. So I usually prefer people have your separate account, but you can have an account where it might not be separate per se, it might not be joint per se, but have a collective account where you save. You save for the future. You save for rainy days. You save for days that are to come. So it's very important that you do that. Then, one of the things you must ensure you do, hold each other accountable. Hold each other accountable. Ask each other questions. Respectfully, and honor each other and love each other. But ask questions. You can ask questions from each other. How you spent money? How you spending money? How do you spend? But it's good to be accountable to each other. As spouse, as married couples, I want to say to you that you must develop yourselves to be best friends of each other. So the man does not go out and start looking for friends outside to help him with the things he's meant to be doing at home. Likewise, the woman. So you have to develop friendship in such a way that you can talk about everything. It doesn't start just once. It starts by constant communication. It starts by constant discussions. So be accountable to each other in everything that you do. A man should be able to correct his wife. A wife should be able to correct her husband. The reason why you find men messing up around, this might not be pertaining to money, but in case of anything that they do, is because it's either the women correct them and they don't listen, or they don't correct each other. So you must be able to balance each other. You must be able to complement each other. I usually say to my wife that when you see me doing things that are not right, you must call me to order. You must call me to order. You must ask me questions. You must question some of the things that I do. Honey, why are you doing this? You must ask questions. Not just accept everything as okay. No, you must ask questions. You must raise intellectual questions. Why are you doing what you're doing? It's very important. Questions are very important in life. So be accountable to each other is so important. And number 5 is that how do I want to put it? I want to put it like this. Have equal access to your account. Have equal access to your account. There's no bossiness when it comes to marriage. There's no okay, my wife must not know about this. I just want to go and keep this on. No. Except maybe you are trying to build a surprise for her. Even in surprises, you have to be very careful. You have to be very mindful, either as a man or as a woman. So have access to your account. Have access to it. Let her know that this is what you have. Let him know that this is what you have in your account. But like I said when I was starting this teaching, is that work together as a team. Work together to complement each other. Work together to make each other grow. Be accountable to yourself in every area of your life. You must ask yourself, when last did you pray? You can ask yourself, Princess, when last did you study? My husband, when last did you pick up a book to read? In a very loving and honor manner, just so that we can all grow together, is important. Then the last point, which is number 6, on how couples can manage their finances is plan your estate. There's what we call estate planning. There's what we call estate planning. As soon as you know that, you begin to have a lot of resources, you begin to have a lot of wealth in terms of money, in terms of houses, in terms of land, a lot of it. You should begin to put proper things in place. Ensure that in terms of your estate, in terms of your resources, let me just define what estate planning is to you. According to Forbes magazine, I think I was listening to reading for, it says, estate planning is the process of legally structuring the future disposition of your current and your projected assets. So you already know the assets that you have. Begin to plan them as couples. How do you want to dispose them? Do you want to give this to charity? I know you wouldn't die now. I know none of us would die now because God still has us to fulfill a lot on the face of the earth. But put your house in order. Put your things in place. Don't live life like 70 years is far away. Don't live life like, okay, I'm still going to 80 years. So I'm still 20, I'm still 25, I'm still 30, I'm still 35, I'm still 40. So I still have 10 years. Let me just do what I like. Before you close your eyes and you open it, you're already 70. If God wills, if the kingdom of God tarries, you are already 70. And you will now look back and ask yourself, what have I done with my life? So live each day as couples or as intending people who want to get married. Live each day accountable to yourself. Part of the things that you should cherish most, for example, me, my family, your time. Your time. Cherish it with the whole of your life. See, you can still assume that, okay, you put your money one side, but your time, your time, cherish it, value it, because that's the most important resource that you have. That's the most important after the gift of life. One of that gift God has given is the gift. Time is a gift, so we must use it so well. I hope you've been able to learn something today. I'm just going to run through the points again. Talk about money as couples. Sit down and talk about money. Call your wife, call your husband. Let's talk about this. Number 2, develop a common vision. One of the things I said was, you are working as team. You are teammates. You love yourself, but you must complement each other. You must complement each other. You must grow together. Number 3, both of you need to know your spending patterns. How does one spend? I know myself, I'm a frugal person. Frugality simply means I'm very accountable. Right from when I was working in the bank, though we grow. So now I'm much more better than when I was working, much more better. And some things I know now, wow. So know your spending patterns. Number 4, put a proper money management strategy in place. Have a strategy where you are accountable. You know how to spend less, save more, invest more, bless people more, but put that management strategy in place. And number 5, I said both husband and wife have equal access to your account. There's no bossiness when it comes to marriage. We don't boss people around. Jesus does not boss people around. And that's our model. We don't lord things over people. But we ensure that we respect and honor each other. We love our wives. It's compulsory for us. It's very important for us. And they also love us too, and they respect us too. And number 6, I said, as soon as you know that you are having so much of resources, ensure that you begin to plan your estate. Plan your estate. Estate planning simply means, in terms of law, put your things in place, how you want to dispose them, what you want to give to your kids, what you want to give to the charity, what you want to give to your family. But do that as soon as you know that you are growing every day, you're growing old, and you have a lot of resources. Put a check on them. Don't leave your resources, your asset loosely. If you have a piece of land somewhere, find where it is. Be accountable, know what is happening to it, but ensure that you put a proper eye on your resources so that it's not going to be wasted, it's not going to be stolen, it's not going to be sold to someone else, it's not going to be, you won't know what is happening to it. I hope you've been able to learn something new. Please, let's go and share this so that people can know how important this is. Because couples, I don't really know if they talk about money, but it's one of the best things to talk about, especially when you love each other, you respect each other, you honor each other. You must be opened to each other. We are not men that says, okay, your wife should not know what you earn. No, it doesn't work like that. Your wife should know everything that you earn. In fact, some men keep their money with their wives, because you have to complement each other. You have to be open to each other. You have to love each other. You have to respect each other. You have to honor each other. You have to value each other. You have to lift each other up. You have to grow together. So let me just say hello to everybody. Thank you so much, my brother, Tibet Justus. I really appreciate that, value, and I honor you. Thank you so much for tuning in with me. My loving dad, thank you so much. Mr. Lurokpo Igborodowo, I love you so much. Ibn Pepple, I hope we've been able to gain something today. Hamad, thank you so much for tuning in with me, Ahmad. I really, really value this. Adejoke Jimo, thank you so much. Dilara, thank you so much for tuning in with me. I really, really value it, and thank you so much for people watching from all over the world. I really, really do appreciate it. Frank Paul from North Cyprus, thank you so much for watching, for tuning in with me. Is he from North Cyprus? I don't know. I hope so. Adedoyin Saint Oluwashem, thank you so much for your time. Michael, I miss you guys in Diamond Bank. Etienne, how are you? So good to see you. Queen Sheon Yaya, my ever-loving business banker. So good to see you. And my beautiful wife and my princess, I love you so much. Queen Chinwe, ever-loving. Thank you so much. Aokpeju Sunday, thank you. My brother, Dada Kata Olumide, Abata Gudosi, my brother, thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in with me. And I wish you a very beautiful Saturday. As you go this Saturday, 2 things I'm going to leave you with. Be mindful of how you use your time. Be very, very mindful. Number 2, as couples, intending couples, or as married couples, you need to start sitting down. Have a day that you will meet and discuss the issues of life, how you can grow together. Thank you so much. Please hit your share button. I want please everyone to go and share this so that someone also can glean from this wisdom, so that someone also can glean from this understanding. I love you guys so much. I'm going to see you same time next week. Bye and God bless. Bye.